Now on CoastTV News.
Outdoor amendment. A new bill could change Delaware's constitution to include hunting. Supporters say it's about tradition. Political lines. Maryland leaders are pressing ahead with redistricting, how it could reshape the state's political balance. And from the Delaware Supreme Court today, a major ruling involving Elon Musk and a multi-billion-dollar Tesla pay package.
This is CoastTV News at 11.
Today, the Delaware Supreme Court ruling in favor of Tesla CEO Elon Musk. Good Friday evening, and thank you so much for joining us. I'm Christina D. Robertis. The ruling clears the way for Musk to receive a long-contested $56 billion Tesla pay package. You might remember the pay package had previously been tossed out by a Delaware judge. That judge called it unfair to Tesla shareholders. But Delaware's High Court today just ruled that judge's earlier opinion was in error, saying tossing the pay package doesn't compensate Musk for his, quote, time and efforts over several years. The 2018 pay package is now worth about $139 billion. That's based on the price of Tesla's stock at the close of trading on Friday. Now we're looking live into Ocean City. I'm sure everyone's curious about the weekend weather, so we're going to check right in with First Alert meteorologist Bob Trihey.
Good evening, Christina. The big story this evening are those winds. They've been very strong, wreaking havoc, I'm sure, with a lot of holiday decorations, and still gusting over 30 miles per hour in Salisbury and over 20 miles per hour in Georgetown, gusting to 16 in Millsboro. But those winds beginning to slowly die down, but we still have a wind advisory until 1 a.m. for southern Delaware, all of Sussex County, and then the eastern shore until 1 a.m. And it's getting cold, mid to upper 30s to around 40 in Willard, 37 in Millsboro and Dagsboro, 38 in Bethany Beach. But with the wind, it feels like 20s and low 30s, feels like 31 in Millsboro, 28 in Georgetown. As we are seeing mainly clear skies right now and that northwesterly flow. The reason it's so windy is we have low pressure to the north and high pressure to the southwest. It's a pressure gradient squeezing all that wind into our area. Futurecast has those temperatures tumbling through the overnight. By tomorrow morning, 6:30, bundle up. We're looking at temperatures into the 20s and around 40 by the noon hour, but we're looking at those wind chill values down into the low 20s by tomorrow morning. A chilly Saturday, a milder Sunday, and then a milder and snow-free Christmas Day. I'll have much more in your forecast coming up a little bit later on.
All right, thank you, Bob. Well, hunting, fishing, and trapping may soon become a protected right in Delaware's Constitution. This week, a bill was introduced to amend the Delaware Constitution to do just that. The move comes after a 2022 law required hunters ages 18 to 20 to be supervised by someone 21 or older. Although that law was ultimately struck down by the courts earlier this year, supporters say a constitutional amendment is needed to protect outdoor rights from any future challenges. Hunters across Delaware say hunting has been a tradition for generations and needs legal safeguards to continue.
To have a protection so that that can't happen again, it's kind of like we need more common sense legislation. We need to protect it so that these rights are here for all of us and for that next generation.
The proposal has been introduced in the Senate and sent to the Executive Committee, but it's important to note, because it's a constitutional amendment, it has to pass 2 consecutive General Assemblies, and it needs a 2/3 majority vote in both the House and the Senate each time before it can become law in Delaware. Meanwhile, in Maryland, redistricting efforts continue to ramp up. A panel appointed by Governor Wes Moore has decided to move forward with redrawing the state's 8 congressional districts. A handful of the state's Democrats have been toying with this idea for months. The plan would likely eliminate the state's only Republican seat, held by Congressman Andy Harris, who says he and his Republican colleagues are ready to take legal action.
Hazard to the Democrats are that we'll take it to court. We'll take that map to court. That map will lose, and it's possible that the current map will lose in court, and a Western Maryland Republican district would be added.
Now, in Maryland, Democrats outnumber Republicans by 2 to 1, but they hold 7 of the 8 congressional districts. Ocean City police still trying to identify a suspect in a Truist bank robbery. That happened more than a year ago. The town now increasing the reward in hopes it generates a new lead. Monday night, Ocean City Council approved an ordinance raising the maximum reward the town can offer for information leading to arrest and conviction. They raised it from $5,000 to $10,000. Leaders also voted to raise the reward in this Truist case to match.
The council passed an ordinance that would increase the allowable amount of an award for any case where the police request it from $5,000 to $10,000.
Yep, City Manager Terry McGeehan says if you have any information on the suspect or that robbery, you should contact the Ocean City Police Department. Now to Prime Hook, where a concrete dune crossover is causing some concern. It's an access ramp. It was built without DENREC's approval. Now the owner has to go back to get the proper permits. The ramp is owned by David Heffernan. We could not reach Heffernan today, but DENREC says the crossover is the first of its kind at a residential property, and they say they did not know it was built. That's why the owner is now applying for permits. Application documents say the crossover helps equipment to get onto the beach. The owner also says it's helpful for special needs guests. Milton's fire chief says they have used it during emergencies and that it's really been critical for them.
We're able to get our boat and our trailer backed up as close as we can to the beach. It's a nice unloading area. Obviously, if that ramp became in disrepair, I would assume that DENREC would monitor that and make sure that it was either repaired or taken out after the fact. But since it's already there, I think it's a critical piece.
DENREC says they will review the application to make sure the crossover does not damage the dune. Right now, DENREC says the owner has not been fined for the ramp. If the application is denied, DENREC says the ramp will need to be removed and the owner could be fined. In Rehoboth Beach, a safety committee is working to try and calm down traffic in the city. Traffic like you see there on your screen. The current speed limit in Rehoboth, it's 25 miles per hour right now, but the city is considering changing that to 20 miles per hour. As Emma Aiken reports, people in Rehoboth not so sure about the idea.
Driving through Rehoboth Beach, the city is debating making that journey slower.
We enjoy the city and don't overregulate it.
The City Streets and Safety Advisory Committee is recommending that the current speed limit of 25 miles per hour be lowered down to 20. William Fair doesn't think that's so smart.
You're going to get people giving you the finger as they cut pass around you illegally. I don't know. It just seems pretty slow.
It's not just the number itself. The city is looking at installing more speed limit signs and more speed readers on certain streets.
Warning lights are flashing.
And the city is also considering adding more painted crosswalks like these on certain roads like State, Henlopen, and Columbia. Ben Shields says in the summer, things already move too slow.
You'd be lucky if you go 5 miles per hour. I've seen bicycles go faster.
None of this has been given a green light just yet. For now, consider it a yellow as the city contemplates slowing down traffic to keep people safer.
That was Emma Aiken reporting. Now, the city did not decide on any changes officially today. But this does bring us to our CoastTV poll because we're asking what you think about a 20 mile per hour citywide limit in Rehoboth Beach. 74% too slow. 19% think it's just right. 7% say not slow enough. You can still give us your answer. Change up those results there. Go to coasttv.com or use our mobile app. Well, in a late Friday afternoon file dump, the Department of Justice turned over thousands of files on late convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein, but not all of the files. As NBC's Yamiche Alcindor reports, this is a day both Republicans and Democrats have been pushing for months, and the survivors of Epstein's abuse for years.
Deadline day, the Department of Justice just turned over unclassified files on the late convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein. NBC News is reviewing all the documents now, but we can show you this one picture of former President Clinton in a hot tub with someone whose face has been redacted by the Justice Department. We do not know when this picture was taken, and it does not show any wrongdoing. Another picture shows the late Michael Jackson and Epstein. In a letter to Congress, Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche said there were more than 1,200 names identified as survivors of Epstein or their relatives. Blanche went on to say that the ongoing review will be completed over 2 weeks. But everything was not released, which violates the Epstein Transparency Act, which Congress passed last month. That did not sit well with Republican Thomas Massie and Democrat Ro Khanna, the two lawmakers behind the Epstein Act.
The release has been disappointing from the initial read of it, but I reserve judgment until we go through all of the release.
The White House says by releasing these documents, the Trump administration has done more for the survivors of Epstein than Democrats ever have. The survivors have fought for years to be heard and believed. They have also pushed for the release of the files.
We are representing survivors that have never had a voice.
That was NBC's Yamiche Alcindor reporting there, and we are just getting started tonight. More news coming up, like all of the holiday fun that's happening this weekend. We'll tell you what specials you can enjoy as the countdown to Christmas gets closer. And coming up, Bob Trihey in the CoastTV First Alert Weather Center. He says the strong winds will subside overnight with a decent weekend on the way. Unfortunately, no snow for Christmas, though, but he's got your full forecast coming up. I'm sure many people are trying to squeeze in some last-minute Christmas shopping this weekend, but don't forget to have a little fun this weekend, too. And as always, there are plenty of cool things to do around Delmarva. Santa is making quite a few stops on Delmarva this weekend. You have another chance to take a cruise on the canal with Old St. Nick, courtesy of Cape Water Tours. That's on Saturday starting at noon. Or you can have breakfast with Santa at the Milton Fire Department Saturday morning at 8 a.m. Proceeds benefit our Milton firefighters. If you don't want to wake up for breakfast, that's fine. You can also have lunch with Santa at Milford Senior High School on Saturday. Or maybe your heart is feeling 2 sizes too small. Then you'll want to meet the Grinch. He'll be at Milford Public Library 11 a.m. on Saturday. If you want to go Christmas caroling this year but not so sure about your singing voice, there's a Christmas caroling lesson happening at St. John Newman Church in Bayside on Sunday at 3 p.m. Or if your singing voice is bad but you don't really care, then you can go to Ugly Sweater Christmas Karaoke in Berlin at Oaked at the Globe 7 p.m. Saturday night. Finally, the Rehoboth Concert Band has its annual concert Holiday Peace on Sunday at 3 p.m. at Cape Henlopen High School. For more details, just head over to coasttv.com and click on Cool Things to Do.
We're seeing windy and colder conditions right now, but this morning it was stormy. We had a lot of rain out there, in some cases over 2 inches. Harrington 2.03, and then Seaford 1.78 inches for you. Close to 3/4 of an inch for Delmar, Georgetown, a little less than that for Rehoboth, with Bethany Beach at 6100s. And the winds, yeah, a lot of it today. Had a gust of 53 at Georgetown, 34 miles per hour Slaughter Beach. We had Greenwood and Dagsboro 29 mile per hour gusts, with Milford and Seaford 28, Rehoboth and Indian River Inlet 27, and Delmar and Laurel at 24 miles per hour, and it's still gusty this evening. Here's our tidal health cam in Salisbury right now, 38 degrees, but feeling much colder with that wind. But before the cold front came through, it was mild today, 62 in Georgetown and Salisbury and 60 in Ocean City. And we still have those winds gusting over 30 miles per hour in Salisbury, 21 miles per hour in Georgetown, 32 at Indian River Inlet, but they will start to relax as we go through the overnight hours, but still a wind advisory for much of Delaware, in fact all of it, until 1 a.m. and then the eastern shore until 1 a.m. And we also have a gale warning for Chesapeake Bay, the Atlantic Ocean, and Delaware Bay too until 1 a.m. for those gusty winds. And here comes the cold air. It's actually mid to upper 30s right now. 36 in Georgetown, 37 Dagsboro, 38 Willards and Bethany Beach, but with the wind, it's feeling like 20s and low 30s, so definitely a bite to the air out there as we're looking at clear skies right now. And we have that northwesterly flow, even some lake effect snow across upstate New York. Low pressure to the north, high pressure to the southwest, and right in between we have that pressure gradient. But as that high gets closer, we'll be looking at those winds beginning to relax, and a good looking weekend on the way. As we're seeing those temperatures pretty cold by the morning hours, I think we're into the mid to upper 20s. Then as we go through your Saturday, Saturday, we're looking at low to mid 40s in the afternoon. Winds start to turn in out of the southwest, so not as cold Sunday morning in the mid 30s. And then low 50s Sunday afternoon before we see those temperatures crashing again behind a cold front. But the winds do start to relax as we go into your Saturday, and then shifting out of the southwest and picking up Saturday night. Feels like temperatures tomorrow morning low to mid 20s, and then as those winds turn around to the south and west, feeling like 20s and 30s overnight. Heading into next week, we're getting close to Christmas. I think we're looking at showers, just liquid precipitation on Tuesday. We're heading into Christmas Eve, very quiet and mild. If you're hoping for snow, I don't think we're seeing it. We're going to be mild and maybe just some rain showers around as we go into Christmas Day. Tonight, 26, windy and cold, mostly clear. 44 tomorrow, mostly sunny. Paul Davis 7-day forecast. Much colder Monday. 39 rain showers Tuesday. 46 Christmas Eve mild. 50 degrees. Santa's going to need the wheels on the sleigh on Christmas Day. 53 and mild. And then Kwanzaa looking even warmer. Partly cloudy and a high of 60. Christina.
All right, that's all right with me. Thanks, Bob. Well, the days-long search for the man accused of carrying out a mass shooting at Brown University and killing an MIT professor ended when he was found dead at a storage facility in Salem, New Hampshire, Thursday night. Authorities said that, but as Colin Jeffrey reports, the motives behind the killings remain a mystery.
This individual was, in my opinion, was very strategic in this plan.
The Providence, Rhode Island police chief says the suspect in the Brown University shooting used evasive measures to try to avoid detection by law enforcement for days.
I mean, he was communicating with apps. He was utilizing certain ways to drive and picking certain neighborhoods to drive around. He wasn't picking main streets.
But the chief believes that it was thanks to the city having cameras in places you wouldn't expect that they were able to pick up the suspect's vehicle.
Station G2 on cruising stations. Please cancel the earlier Volvo for the Gray Nissan Sentra. SV wanted in connection with a homicide in Brookline on 12/26/25. Vehicle has been located in Salem, New Hampshire.
Police tracked the suspect's rental vehicle to New Hampshire, and that's where they found Claudio Neves Valente dead in a storage locker after he took his own life. Along with Valente's body, a source says police found a bulletproof vest, 2 9mm Glocks, high-capacity magazines, and the jacket seen in videos released by police. While authorities have been able to more precisely map out his movements leading up to both shootings, the motive behind these attacks remains a mystery.
They're going to have to go through the investigative process of looking through all of his digital history, any items of evidentiary value that he has in terms of search warrants on residences in his vehicle, anything that can indicate some sort of grievance or animus towards this professor and Brown University.
I'm Colin Jeffrey reporting.
Coming up tonight in sports, we look ahead to the weekend with UMES women's hoops and more. The Hawks are hopeful to stop a 3-game losing streak. And coming up, a look back at the top stories of the year, politics, disasters, and a long-awaited return from space.
This is CoastTV News at 11.
It is hard to believe, but 2025, it's almost over, and it has been a year full of news. A familiar face returned to the White House. Fires and floods forever changed communities across the country, and a new pope was chosen, plus a lot more. Michael Yoshida looks back on the top stories of 2025.
2025 began with back-to-back tragedies. New Year's celebrations turned deadly in New Orleans. A terror attack shutting down the city's famed Bourbon Street. Just days later,
we drove up and I just kept saying, my home, my home.
Deadly and destructive fires tear across Los Angeles, destroying thousands of homes.
We wanted to see for ourselves what the damage was, but it's gone. It's gone. It's a total loss.
Heartbreak in Texas. Young girls attending summer camp among the more than 130 people who lost their lives in catastrophic flooding.
Please pray for our community.
And tragedy in our nation's capital. A passenger jet colliding with a U.S. Army helicopter, the deadliest U.S. plane crash in nearly 2 decades.
I, Donald John Trump, do solemnly swear.
Donald Trump returned to the White House. Job and spending cuts, tariffs, and immigration enforcement and raids becoming political and social flashpoints. Court battles, protests, and marches playing out across the country. The president claiming there was widespread crime ordering National Guard troops to several U.S. cities, leading to clashes with protesters.
We're trying to solve a problem. Don't tell us what we're going to feel.
I'm not telling you.
Because
I'm
you're in no
answering on this
position to
question.
dictate that.
That's
Remember
exactly
this.
what I'm not
You're
dictating.
in no position to dictate what we're going to feel.
A White House shouting match as Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky, President Trump, and others met about Russia's invasion into Ukraine. Months later, a red carpet welcome for Russian President Vladimir Putin landing on American soil. But the high-stakes summit in Alaska did not end with a deal to end the Russia-Ukraine war. 2 years after Hamas attacked Israel, a ceasefire agreement reached. The last living Israeli hostages held by Hamas released in exchange for the release of Palestinian prisoners and detainees. In October and November, we saw the longest government shutdown in U.S. history, fights over health care dividing Congress, the 43-day saga ending with a deal to reopen through January. 6 years after his death, convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein back in the spotlight, a twists and turns saga from the White House to Capitol Hill, as survivors pushed for release of the so-called Epstein files.
I know everybody sees us today as grown adults, but we are fighting for the children that were abandoned and left behind in the reckoning.
We're not counting gang violence.
The assassination of conservative political activist Charlie Kirk stunned the country.
It is an attack on all of us. It is an attack on the American experiment. It is an attack on our ideals.
Comedian Jimmy Kimmel, following criticism and political pressure over comments related to Kirk's death, taken off air. Free speech protests ensued, before Kimmel eventually returned to hosting his late-night show the following week. And our nation said goodbye to political pillars. The 39th President Jimmy Carter honored. And Dick Cheney, Vice President under George W. Bush, also remembered. Tributes poured in across the globe after the death of Pope Francis. White smoke revealing the first Latin American pontiff would be replaced by the first American Pope, Leo XIV, a Chicago White Sox fan turned leader of the Catholic Church. A brazen heist at the world's most visited museum, thieves robbing the Louvre of jewels estimated to be worth more than $100 million. And after what was supposed to be a short mission to space stretched into more than 9 months, NASA astronauts Sonny Williams and Butch Wilmore finally returned home.
Thank you to a nation that got involved in all of this. It makes it special, not just for us, but for all, I think our nation as a whole.
Pretty honored and humbled by the fact of when we came home, like, wow, there are a lot of people who are interested.
I'm Michael Yoshida reporting.
That sure was a lot of news, but it's not the new year yet. We haven't even made it to Christmas, so let's take a look at some of your holiday decorations in tonight's Holiday House. This is from Stanley Lake Sr. in Hurlock. He says, warm holiday greetings. I love those decorations, very classic. Very classy, Stanley. Thank you for sharing. And we want to see how you're decorating as well, so send your photos and videos. Just go to coasttv.com/holidayhouse. And we might show them here on TV.
With Christmas time comes our Bless Our Children campaign, and that's where we make sure every child has a present to open Christmas morning. We do that through donations from viewers like you, who then send in these lovely cards to fill up the trees in our newsroom. I have a card here with some cardinals. This is from Anita Jackson in Seaford. Thank you so much, Anita, for your donation. Businesses can help by accepting the Shell Brothers Challenge of donating at least $1,000. And if you want to help, send a donation in a holiday card, and we may just read it on the air. Send a check or money order to the address on your screen, or donate online at blessourchildren.org.
We have already raised $325,000 for children and families in need this holiday season, so thank you to anyone who has donated.
Delmarva Sports Network from the Wawa Studios.
What's up, folks? Happy holidays. We've got a busy weekend of sports coming up on the Eastern Shore. The UMES women are looking to get off the snide a bit on Saturday, and they'll certainly have a good chance to do that. Aiming to snap a 3-game losing streak, the Hawks will take on small college conference school Bloomfield College from North Jersey. Most recently, the Hawks lost to Towson 87-86 in overtime. They led that game by 17 at half. Tessie Taylor hit the game, tying 3 to send it to the extra period, but the Hawks couldn't pull out the win. Shauna Carter had a career night, though, scoring 21 points in a losing effort. Tip-off against Bloomfield is set for 1 p.m. You can watch the action right here live on DSN. Ian Nicholas and Frankie Allen will be on the call. And now everyone's favorite team, the Ravens, they were flexed to prime time on Sunday. They'll take on the Patriots on NBC and Peacock. The mission for the Ravens right now is simple. If they want to make the playoffs, they got to win out. Their Week 18 game against the Steelers would ultimately end up deciding the division, and that's how they could get in. Of course, if you remember the controversial ending to the last time those two teams matched up, a lot of bad blood right now. The Ravens have a roughly 37% chance of making the offs, and the Pats are coming off a loss to the Bills and come behind fast, and so the Baltimore can surely expect a motivated New England team in the bank on Sunday night. For coverage of that Sunday night matchup, follow along at Delmarva Sports on our socials, as our Ian Nicholas will be on site covering the game. That'll do it for sports tonight. Have a great weekend and a happy holiday, everybody.
Bundle up if you're headed out tomorrow morning. Mid-20s. At least the winds are light tomorrow. That's a good thing. And temperatures into the low to mid-40s. Congratulations to Mark Musterman from Millville on winning a brand new umbrella from CoastTV and Paul Davis. And call the CoastTV First Alert weather phone, sponsored by Brockstead, Mandalis, Federico. Paul Davis 10-day forecast, 52 on Sunday, much colder on Monday, some showers Tuesday, and then Christmas Eve 50, 53 on Christmas Day. Santa's going to need the wheels on the sleigh. No snow this time around. Kwanzaa 60, much milder, and then cooler and drier into next weekend. Christina?
Okay, thank you again, Bob, and thanks to you at home for joining us here for Coast TV News at 11. You can always find more news and weather. Just download our Coast TV News app. The Tonight Show starring Jimmy Fallon's up next, and we're back tomorrow at 6 p.m. Have a good night.